The sun comes up, the light turns on, and the natural world erupts into a new day. Animals wake in burrows, colonies, and branches to sing the sun's praises and launch into their daily chores. On the fabled sands of Arabia, they answer to one true king, the merciless golden orb in the sky. Those that survive here must bow to his command, withstand his fury until the monsoons bring relief. All the daily dramas of their lives unfold in the hours from dawn to dusk. Just before dawn in late July, on a remote beach in Oman, ghost crabs wait in anticipation. Like expectant fathers outside a labor room, these crabs look forward to the miracle of new life. Except this newborn isn't one of theirs. And these crabs aren't really the fatherly type. Turtle hatchlings. Instinctively, they head for the moonlit waves. But between them and the water are the expectant crabs. For predators that usually prey on small insects and bits of vegetation, this hatching frenzy is a windfall. They must make the most of it. The stream of hatchlings is plentiful. But overpowering wriggly turtles isn't that easy. The less successful crabs get impatient, and brawls break out. This turtle is an unwilling third wheel in this crab tango. While the ravenous crabs fight, a lucky few break free from this dance of death. These young escapees hold the key to the future of their species. Survive their first few years, and they can return to these very shores to breed. Dawn reveals no trace of the carnage on this Omani coast. From this moment on, the challenge from the sun will intensify with each passing second. Testing times lie ahead for every single resident of the Arabian Peninsula. Home to 7 countries, this is the largest peninsula in the world. It juts out into the Arabian Sea between the Persian Gulf and the Red Sea. almost 90% of the peninsula is parched desert. The Rub al-Khali is its arid heart, the largest continuous body of sand in the world. A few hours into the morning, it has already begun to swelter. The dunes look empty, but the sand is a canvas for the stories of the night past. The dhub lizard knows that the best place to be in the desert is under it. His subterranean bunker is 10 degrees cooler than it is above ground. But an empty stomach will force him outdoors. Outside, the sand is hot, and the air is heavy. Before the dhub can head off to find food, he must first warm up. Dark skin soaks up the heat from the sun's rays. At surface temperatures of over 40 degrees, minutes are all he needs. It's all too easy to go from warmed up to overheating. Not to worry, he's got this covered. Imperceptibly, his dark skin begins to change color. Until... his new light skin reflects the sun's rays. And matches the sand, which helps him blend in. Now, he's ready to take on the desert. Only the toughest, most specially adapted species can survive here. Case in point, the dromedary camel. For one of the most energy-efficient animals on the planet, surface temperatures of over 45 degrees are no big deal. No food around. No water for hundreds of kilometers. No sweat. Seriously, dromedaries don't sweat. That would be a waste of water. Doesn't seem like it. But this camel is hard at work. Each second, she breaks down fat stored in her hump into life-giving energy. And there's a lot more in store. Almost 35 kilograms of it. Which means she doesn't need to stop for a bite to eat for a whole week. But like any parent knows, when you bring kids along, pit stops are a must. The youngsters don't yet have the necessary fat reserves. So for their sake, the herd must find food. There's one place on the Arabian Peninsula where the going is slightly easier. 800 kilometers south of the Rub al-Khali, the Dhofar mountain ranges defy the stereotype. The camels here live in the cool lap of luxury. More than 2,000 meters up, they don't have to contend with blistering heat. Because July mornings like this are special. Today, the highlands trap moisture-laden monsoon clouds. The result? A verdant summer retreat with nutritious food for its residents. Like this orb weaver spider. She starts her day early. Job number 1, lay her trap. Her insect prey is most active early in the day. And when they come, she must be ready. There's ample food here. But there are also plenty of predators that would eat her too. An Arabian chameleon. He'd love an orb weaver or two for breakfast. His multi-directional eyes scan the foliage. But it's barely 22 degrees in the mid-morning. Reptile muscles don't work very well in the chill. But this is not just any reptile. He's a master assassin who needs just one muscle group in his body to work perfectly. That one. Accelerator muscles convert stored energy to fire his sticky tongue faster than a jet plane. Even in the cold. While other reptiles are still warming up, he's finished his first course. For the unfortunate orb weavers, the day ends early. "10 a.m. and a monsoon mist still clings on. It hides the rocky crags, where an ancient enigma is only just beginning to stir. A relative of the African elephant. Rock hyrax. They hate cold mornings. When the mist rolls in, they love nothing more than to sleep in. Being a primitive mammal, they function a bit like old cars on a cold morning. Their bodies have trouble starting, and there's only one way they can charge their batteries. Solar power. An hour later, the air temperature creeps past 25 degrees. Yep. That's warm enough. Time for brunch. Abyssinian myrrh is a hyrax favorite. They've already eaten all the easy-to-reach leaves. The ones that remain are really hard to get to. Rubbery, clawless feet are great for gripping onto rocks. But for climbing trees, not so much. A motley crowd watches intently. These little hyraxes are just days old. Mother's milk is still #1 for these pups. But while mums get their own nutrition, curious pups follow their every move. How about a taste of those leaves? This little lightweight is doing better than its parent. Perhaps mother's milk isn't such a bad idea after all. In contrast to the cool Dhofar ranges, the Hajar mountains on the peninsula's eastern side bake under the mid-morning sun. The landscape seems bereft of life, like the surface of a desolate planet. But these valleys are a sprawling bachelor pad. The owner? A forlorn male Arabian tahr. All he wants is a bit of sugar to spice up his lonely existence. But there are fewer than 2,500 tahr left out here, which makes for a pretty shallow dating pool. However, this tahr has something that many of his rivals don't. His territory includes deep canyons called wadi. And crucially, water. On a searing summer's day like today, it's a lifeline for insects, birds, reptiles, and most importantly, female tahr. But none have shown up yet. Having a private backyard pool in a desert makes this male a goat of good standing. But to attract a female, he must get creative. He won't leave any room for doubt. This is his territory. He smears secretions from his chest onto everything in sight. Profile posted. Now he'll wait for Miss Right to swipe right. As the sun continues its climb towards the highest point in the Arabian sky, the heat turns hellish. Even the desert island of Masira, 20 kilometers off the mainland, crackles at 32 degrees. Dangerous levels for some, but a godsend for others. The hot ground makes it easy for Egyptian vultures to drift in thermal updrafts. From up here, their powerful eyes scan over a wide area. Other vultures in the distance. It's a telltale sign. Jackpot. The dead goat is a lifesaver. In a desert, easy meals have many takers and are hotly contested. This grubby brown individual is an adolescent. Not a helpless chick, but not quite an adult either. Vulture's social hierarchy dictates that youngsters like him feed last. If these ivory white adults leave anything behind, that is. No part of this putrefying goat is a step too far for these guys. Their stomach acids are powerful enough to dissolve metal. By the time the youngsters finally get a look in, all that's left is smelly, rotting offal. Or as Egyptian vultures call it, dessert. Smack dab in the middle of the Arabian desert, 1,000 kilometers away from Masira, lives an animal more suited to desert life than a camel. The Arabian oryx. It's been weeks since this herd's seen water. The only moisture they get comes from meager desert shrubs. The breeze carries a delectable scent. Which tells this bull that today is a special day. It's raining. Just not here. But over 160 kilometers away. The bull knows that this brief downpour could very well be it for the entire year. He must lead his thirsty herd straight to it. They'll never cover the distance in time to catch the rain itself. It's more about what the rain will bring. The deluge will support nutritious plants, natural reservoirs that absorb and store moisture. They can make it just in time for the fresh plant growth. If they get a move on, now. With the sun directly overhead, the heart of Arabia sizzles at 50 degrees. But in the Gulf of Oman, the water temperature is just fine. The midday sunlight penetrates deep beneath the waves. To light up the hottest coral reef on the planet. Down here, it's perfect weather for love. This male pharaoh cuttlefish woos a female. And time is ticking. The stakes are high. Today could be his last chance to fulfill his life's mission and pass on his genes. First, he must convince her that his genes are the ones she wants. She plays hard to get. He calmly persists. But when you're a cuttlefish, emotions are just skin deep. His intentions are clear. But she doesn't reciprocate. Rejection received. He turns off the color. Which seems to turn her on. They mate in a face-to-face embrace. He holds her in his tentacles and inserts a bundle of sperm in a cavity near her mouth. Job done. Well, not quite. If a more attractive male should come by, the female could decide to mate with the newcomer and use his sperm instead. The only thing that he can do is guard his girl and make sure no one breaks up this party of two. In the Rub al-Khali desert, even the mighty oryx herd starts to flag in the afternoon heat. They're still over 100 kilometers away from fresh pasture. But the afternoon heat is so intense that even they must stop. Each passing second, the sun saps the strength of the herd's younger members. They rest in what little shade they can find. But the desert isn't the only thing heating up. It's their leader. The bull is trotting hot. The intoxicating scent of fertile urine has him all aquiver. One of the females in his harem is in heat. Is it this one? No. Maybe her. Look away, kid. The bull must make sure of it. But he's not the only one to pick up the scent of the female. A young loner. He has no herd of his own, and he'd very much like to acquire the old male's entourage. Could this be his lucky day? This calls for an epic battle. Well, not really. The desert is just too darn hot for vulgar displays of power and rage. Yeah, that's enough of that. The old bull will keep his harem for now. At the southern margins of the Rub al-Khali, the sandy desert gives way to a harder, pebbly one. But the relentless heat remains the same. It immobilizes yet another desert resident. The sand cat. He might look like a domestic tabby, but this desert specialist has the strongest bite of all cats with respect to body size. But even the best can be off his game. He prefers to hunt in the dark, but he's come up short the past several nights. Now he's too ravenous to sleep. He knows that leaving the shade of the bush into the scorching afternoon sun is to court death. But like a house cat, he just can't resist the temptation to chase. What monstrosity dares to brave this heat? A venomous viper? A giant monitor lizard? It's a sandfish. Sandcat loves sandfish. The little lizard has his full attention. Super short legs, squat fat body, no way to fight back. A cinch, surely. He stays off the open sand, so the vibrations from his footsteps won't reach sandfish's fine-tuned ears. The little lizard is still oblivious to the impending danger. He also shouldn't be out in this heat, but the smell of his favorite prey is too tempting. A potentially grave mistake. It's not called sandfish for nothing. Today, only hunger wins. Sandcat hunkers down because he senses change in the air. In the early afternoon, the sizzling ground generates turbulence in the air above. A perfect recipe for a sandstorm. Millions of tons of dust and sand blow across the Arabian Peninsula. Only the toughest can withstand this onslaught. It's too late to duck for cover. Winds of over 50 kilometers per hour whip up sharp sand particles that can permanently damage eyes. But the camel's long eyelashes manage to keep them out. Elongated nostrils lined with hair close to stop dust from entering her nasal cavity. Experience tells the family that this storm won't last long. Eventually, the dust settles on an unexpected gift. Leaves that were once too high are now within easy reach of the whole family. A tree this size will help replenish their fat reserves and prepare them for whatever the desert throws at them next. Out in the Gulf of Oman, the afternoon water temperature is still pleasant. But the competition for the female cuttlefish's attention is really heating up. Her pheromones have drawn in a new pharaoh vying for a queen, much to the annoyance of the current monarch. His queen can be fickle. If she fancies the usurper, she'll mate with him and use his sperm to fertilize her eggs instead. So he he stays close. Really close. To keep the challenger at bay. It seems to be working. While the males muscle in, a smaller female hovers off to the side, observing the commotion. The rival males ignore her. But what they don't know is that she is a he, a sneaker male. Too small to challenge the larger males, he's become a shapeshifter. He assumes the mottled color of a female to approach unnoticed. But the big male senses a rat. His body darkens in response. The tiny challenger inches closer. Not today, Sneaker. The female finally lays her eggs, all fertilized by the resident male. Or so he hopes. He's done all he can to ensure it, but he has no way of knowing for sure. Today marks the end of their life mission. They haven't fed at all while courting, and they never will again. While their offspring develop in the eggs, the parents wait for death. At the Hajar Wadi, the afternoon heat is slightly more bearable, but that's scant consolation for the Arabian tahr. Still no females. But he's still determined to be ready. The tahr's secret reservoir might not have worked out for him yet, but he's not the only one who relies on its riches. The hard wadi bedrock holds on to what little rain falls here. Less than 15 centimeters in an entire year. The last place on Earth that you'd expect a resident population of fish. Garra gather in the last deep pools around. Late afternoon, and the water in the shallower pools reaches 35 degrees. That would be curtains for any normal fish. But garra are anything but normal. They can withstand temperatures ranging from 0 to 40 degrees and stay alive in 2-centimeter deep pools of water. Here, they'll hold on for salvation. The land is now almost 15 degrees hotter than the sea, which creates a sea breeze that hits the mountain barrier. At long last, rain, a few kilometers away. Soon the water makes it down into the valleys, giving the garra a new lease on life. They've been preparing for this moment all their lives. Because today is their big chance to go forth, mingle, and multiply. As the smaller streams converge to form rapids and miniature waterfalls, the flowing water becomes a temporary highway, which connects disjointed pools where other garra live. Giving them a rare opportunity to refresh their gene pool. Their destination is just a few meters away. But for the tiny fish, these molehills are mountains. Finally, they make it. New feeding grounds, new connections, and an opportunity to expand and colonize new parts of the wadi. Higher upstream, the sect-starved male tahr has finally had some luck. A female has called in. She's had a drink in his pool. All she wants to do now is chill out in the shade. But this billy goat is not about to let her relax without seeing what he's made of. Round one. Pawing the ground, he spreads his smelly chest secretions around. Nah. All right, step it up a notch. Round two. How about a prance? Round three. Get closer and smear everything in sight with its sensual eau de goat. Still no luck. And now for the pièce de résistance. Nothing says I want you quite like coating yourself with urine and dust. If his goat cologne doesn't convince her, nothing will. And nothing it is. Sometimes you can have it all, but not all at once. By 5 p.m., the sun has begun its descent. For the children of the night, it's time to get ready. This horned viper could do with a kill tonight. He hasn't fed in weeks. For the cold-blooded, a few weeks between meals isn't make or break. But as any desert dweller knows, he must be ready when opportunity strikes. The last rays of the sun warm him up so that he's primed for action in the cooler darkness. Here, he'll wait. The Wadi Dusk air is livelier than usual. This is the soulful love song of the male Arabian toad. Hopefully, a female listening out there will think it's beautiful. But he's got competition. Other hopefuls are singing to the same tune. All he can do is inflate his throat pouch more so that his song amplifies and reaches farther. Finally, an opening. He must jump on it. She's perfect. Full-figured, delicate, slimy skin, and those legs, muscly. Strong enough to lift him clean. Just the way he likes it. And what about that beautiful throat pouch? Wait a minute. Only males have a throat pouch. His girl is a guy. But he can't shake the urge. And the other male can't shake him. An hour later, his love goggles are beginning to come off. His reluctant partner has not produced any eggs for him to fertilize. Perhaps it's time to end this bromance. At the Rub al Khali, wisps of monsoon cloud blot out the moon. It provides cover for the cheeseman's gerbil. This is the moment that he's been waiting for. Darkness is best for exploring. His arch-enemies can't see as well in the dark, giving the little rodent an advantage. A fast metabolism means that he must find a lot of food, and quick, because the cloud cover will not last long. His keen ears sense danger. A hooded Malpolon snake is getting ready for dinner with a bit of grooming. She rubs her body with a fatty secretion from her nasal glands. A kind of moisturizer that helps her retain water in the warm desert air. In his earnest quest for food, the gerbil has strayed away from his burrow. Perhaps he should make a break for it. Too late. The snake knows something's up. The gerbil freezes. The Malpolon hunts by sight. The rodent flinches, but the snake still can't pick him out in the gloom. Unlike many other snakes, the Malpolon can't sense the heat radiating from him either. She knows there's something in the bushes, but she's lost the element of surprise. A lucky break. Saved by the clouds. And not a moment too soon. He'll head back to the safety of his burrow. A sliver of moonlight is all the horned viper needs. His patient vigil finally pays off. The potent neurotoxin in his venom acts quickly. Tonight, the horned viper can feast for the first time in weeks. Dusk brings relief to Arabia. Albeit only fleetingly. Tomorrow, the creatures of the Arabian Peninsula will once again face off with their fiery lord and master in the sky.